So, also because I would like to share the first part of my story with you, I promise I'm going to try to keep these videos and vlogs, same thing, 15 minutes or less so that you don't get bored. Hopefully you won't get bored. Also, I've got a little cheat sheet that I'm going to go by a little bit. Each video I want to preface with this disclaimer, okay? And I know in this day and age it's important to kind of put this out there, but it is, it basically compels me to want to tell you guys that I am definitely, I love Jesus, but I cuss a little. So, there you go. If you're easily offended by any of that, please don't tune in. But I really, really hope that these videos are going to reach all types of men and women. Notice I said put men in there because men are definitely the victims of breast cancer as well. And but I want to keep it as clean as possible too. However, my humor can get a little dark. So, basically what you're going to get from me is you're going to get my story. You're going to get a few things that I'm going to try to work into each segment. That'll be new and fresh and maybe information that you didn't already know. And you're going to get me basically doing a lot of useless pop culture references and borrowing material from my friends and other people that are cooler and funnier than me. So, that being said, I have to say, number one, each segment I'm going to try to come up with a cancer myth, okay? This one I'm going to start out with, and I'm going to say that myth number one is that cancer makes you fat. Sorry, cancer makes you skinny. Yeah, no. Neither are true, actually. What happens is a long time ago when I first started going through chemo, I lost my hair, of course, and my clients were coming in at the time. I had gone back to work. I was working in between chemo treatments. Some of my clients were coming in, and I dearly love my clientele, but I know what us women, hey, we can be a little petty, guys. Let's admit it. But I know what they were probably thinking, and a lot of them would say never, but, come on. So a lot of times they would come in, and here I am with, no hair and basically with a headscarf on. It was winter, all that good stuff, and bloated from the steroids. Yeah. Because after every chemo treatment, or during every chemo treatment, they basically give you steroids and usually Benadryl to counteract any kind of allergies to the drug. So they would come in and say, oh, honey, you look so good. And that translates into, oh, she's still fat. Wow, is she really sick? And anyway, I was sick. I promise. I didn't just shave my head on a lark. But not that that's a bad thing. You can do that. So anyway, that is myth number one. Cancer does not always make you skinny. It doesn't. In this case, luckily, even though a lot of us plus-size girls tend to kind of, sort of, in our darkest moments, think, oh, maybe if I got an illness, I'd lose weight. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying it, y'all. I know some of y'all have probably thought it, okay? But in this case, it did not. So I'm blessed in that respect, honestly, because I have seen cancer patients who have been very emaciated because of the type of cancer that they have. Sometimes if it infiltrates the system too much, it will take away your appetite. It will, definitely emaciate you at some point. And so I'm not trying to make light of their experiences at all. But 9 times out of 10 with breast cancer, women, we have these appendages called breasts, and they're basically sticking outside of our torso. They're not inside or integrated. Sure, they're part of us, but they're not an interior organ, okay? So they're basically masses of tissue with ducts in them for milk for our babies. I mean, that's why we have them, honestly. So, when it's sort of outside like that a little bit, for lack of a better word, and you get a tumor in there, the plus side is, because of that, a lot of times they can find that and they can take it off and just get rid of it. And the only time it ever becomes an issue is if it infiltrates into your lymph nodes, which is why you would need chemo. And I had 2 infiltrated lymph nodes by the time I found my lump. So it is dangerous. It's definitely dangerous. However, it's really, luckily and statistically now especially, it is a highly, highly curable cancer. So I want you guys to definitely find strength in that. Those of you that are going through it, find strength in that, okay? So I've also got things that I want to do in each segment, which are props. And I take this cue from a factoid that I read about a long time ago about Helen Hunt. What's Helen Hunt doing now? What is she? Is she saving starving animals in Africa or something? What is she doing? Anyway, Helen was such a big deal in the 80s. And I read somewhere that in every movie and every TV show that she's ever been in, she likes to have a prop. Like, she's a big prop person. Like, she's always picking something up, holding something, moving something around. So if you see me doing that, maybe I'm trying to channel Helen Hunt. I don't know. But my props today are this beautiful Afghan scarf. And it's just really, just a gorgeous blanket that one of my clients' wives made for me when I was going through cancer. I love it. It brings me inspiration. It's got beautiful colors of brown and pink and the fringe on the ends, and it's very warm. Even though right now, even though it's October, girl, we are in Arkansas and it is hot. I'm tired of it. Anyway, this is great. Sitting here in the air conditioning, I'm fine. But no, seriously, this is a beautiful, beautiful shawl that, well, actually my mom's good friend, Mr. Bridges, Carol Bridges, who, it's his wife that actually crocheted or knitted this for me. Looks like it's knitted, yeah. And she brought this into me and when I was doing her hair, and I absolutely cherish it and love it. My other prop is my other shawl, which the ladies of St. Luke's Episcopal Church, of which is Lynn Payette and several others that, if I forget your name, I'm sorry, I'm not mentioning you now. But I love all of you and all of the ladies that prayed over this, that crafted this for me. This is my prayer shawl that they presented to me when they came in one day, and again, come in to get their hair done, and they presented it to me, and it was, I was moved to tears. I really was. And I cherish both of these. These are beautiful gifts, and they helped strengthen me. So find your strength, girls, no matter how you do it, and appreciate those who are trying to support you in this, okay? So, my story. All right. I'm going to kind of split this up into segments, but anyway, to begin. I think I mentioned in the last video a little bit, because my brain and my memory ain't what it used to be, that I definitely sort of found this tumor by accident, really. And once I did, and I got in with my OBGYN, and he sent me downstairs, it was almost as if it was such a smooth process in a way to start with, of discovery anyway. It was just like it was supposed to happen that day, because when he found that lump, he said, I'm concerned, but let's just make sure, a lot of things can cause weird mammograms. First of all, you go in, you get a regular mammogram. Well, you put your boob up in between these two plates, and you get it smushed. I mean, it's basically like a fat pancake by the time it's smushed all the way down. But then the diagnostic mammogram loves to put you through a game of Twister, because you tend to have to contort and move a weird way because the plates are now tilting in different directions and smooshing you from different directions. So I was able to get that done almost immediately. It said, let's just go ahead and take you down for a diagnostic mammogram. All right. So they get that part done, and what's funny is all these women are sitting around in this little waiting room, right? And they have these capes that are basically hospital gowns, only much smaller, and they sort of go around you like the shawl that I just showed you. Only it's like a backward shawl. So you have this thing like this, and your women, women are sitting around, and we're all complete strangers. We are naked underneath these things except for our pants. And we're sitting around, and at any given moment, if we need to scratch our nose or hair or head or whatever, yeah, this stuff could come up and the boob could fly out. And so we know this. We're all sitting around and expecting it. But since we're all women and we have boobs in common and women power and all that, it's really okay if we expose ourselves to each other. Big deal. It's a medical field issue in an office, so they've probably seen a lot worse. However, it is a little awkward, but that is part of it. And you'll sit there and, when you're going through these mammograms and getting diagnosed, you're going to be basically with your boobs hanging out for a while. And then once that happened and they said, we want to dig a little deeper, we might as well go ahead and schedule a biopsy. Well, biopsy, the word biopsy scares a lot of people if they are familiar with it. Basically, it means that they want to test the tissue to see if there's anything of concern in there. And that means that so far they have found something of concern. Okay? But on the flip side, they're biopsying also just to rule out whether or not it is harmful. So, it's the next step, guys. And, don't let a biopsy, if you're in that stage of the game, don't let a biopsy scare you. Because this video and this vlog is for anybody going through anything to do with your breasts, really and truly. So, again, I'm sitting there in my little half shawl, skirt, hospital gown thing, barely covering myself. And they say, okay, biopsy, so we're going to schedule that. So, again, you can read and you can watch a million blogs and vlogs of women and the experiences that they go through as far as the routine of the medical testing and things like that. If I can just make a difference to one person maybe that has not heard this information, I'm happy to do so. Otherwise, you can search a lot of those out. I'm going to try to bring something different to the table with my videos, which I've said previously, meaning that I want to basically help you dispel any unnecessary fears. I want you to try to find the plus side, the lighter side, the funny side of all of this, because there is one. And those of you that work in the medical field definitely have one, I'm sure. And you probably have the same dark humor. I've not been in the medical field, but I've grown up with nurses, so that's close enough. Anyway, but once that was done and the biopsy came back, that's when the information hit me. Okay, it's cancer. And my surgeon pulled no punches with me. He came in, he sat down, we need to talk. I mean, he literally called me on the phone after the biopsy was done and said, we need you to come in and talk about this. And I was in the middle of work, had clients booked. I'm like, why, what? I was kind of sort of maybe halfway in denial or halfway poo-pooing the whole situation. But he said, at the time I was, Miss Selvage, you need to come in and talk to me. And I was really glad that he was, adamant like that. And so I came in and sat down with him, and we talked about everything, all the possibilities. But he told me it's cancer. And at the time, my ex-husband, of course, was with me, and he wasn't in the room with me at that time, but he was waiting. So, he sits down, he starts talking to me, and he starts, looking at my situation. I was self-employed. I did not have insurance. So luckily there are programs, at least within the state of Arkansas, and there's probably some in many other states as well, where you can get help from either, government grants or any number of institutions that can help you if you do not have insurance. Also, the beauty of how far breast cancer awareness has come, one thing that is fantastic is that now it is a federal law that part of the treatment for breast cancer must include reconstruction if the patient decides to have it done. And I know it probably took some bigwig politician's wife to go through it in order to get that passed, but whatever, it got passed, which is fantastic. However it happened, it's fine. They now work reconstruction into the whole deal if you want it. And that is fantastic because I was 39. I wasn't ready to get rid of my boobs. So the joke is on me, guys. It's like I was at the time going, I've been kind of heavy most of my life. I've had big boobs most of my life. And they started kind of doing what gravity does to that type of situation by the time I was 39. Then I started thinking, I started actually considering, wonder if I should go have these, maybe just pulled up a little bit, tucked up there. I don't know. And the irony of it was, because I believe that God does have an ironic sense of humor sometimes, that I just kind of got into this situation where reconstruction sort of just happened for me. So I'm like, wait a minute, not that way, but okay. Anyway, I was thankful for the option. So my surgeon told me, that we can do it this way, this way, this way, this way. The first scenario was you can just basically have one breast cut off because you only have a tumor in one. Okay. You can have both breasts taken off if you choose. Because sometimes when you have breast cancer in one, if you keep the other one, sometimes the likelihood of it coming back is higher, or the risk. Then there's the option of having them one or both taken off with no reconstruction, or having one or both taken off with reconstruction. The type of reconstruction, because you can have reconstruction all at the same time when you have your mastectomy, or you can have it in phases, or you can have it later on. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of options available, at least there were to me, and I really hope that's the case with most of you. So weigh those up, consider them, and I basically was able to kind of assess the whole thing myself, sitting right there with him, and he told me to take the time. So I took a 24-hour period, but I kind of knew what I wanted to do. And I just said, take them both. I don't want to deal with this again. If it comes back, it's going to be in a different form, and it'll be a different fight. So there you go. So that was basically my first phase, guys. And yes, I cried. I went outside and told my ex-husband I was just, devastated. I should say my then husband. He wasn't my ex at that time. And he was extremely supportive, and I will always give him kudos for that, no matter what happened to us. He gets definite kudos for being supportive and taking care of me during this ordeal. But I kind of felt the weirdest thing, and I don't know, and this might be something that's kind of a revelation in my videos each time I talk to you guys. And if you're going through this, because I'm going to be very honest with you, I'm going to be very personal in these videos. One of my thoughts, believe it or not, was almost a relief. Now, that could have been because of other things going on in my life. Things have been pretty crazy as far as my work life was concerned and my personal life and things like that. But honestly, I had been going for so hard for so long that I thought, wow, this thing happening now is going to force me to rest. And I really believe that the universe or God or however you believe sometimes puts things in your path to make you stop. There. So, I did. I stopped. And I really reevaluated a lot of stuff. So that might be something you're going through as well. Now, guys, I want to go ahead and close this out because it's already stretched beyond almost to 20 minutes, and I do appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I'm going to be playing around with video editing and things like that. I'm not anywhere near as good as any of the YouTubers I follow right off the bat, but I'm hoping you'll grow with me and evolve through this vlog with me. So if you have any comments, any questions, any remarks, anything, I'm hoping that I've enabled comments at the end of this. So either way, I'm going to check on that, make sure that you can comment, you can talk to me, and ask me anything. And I'm also on Instagram under Reds Phoenix, which is not as breast cancer oriented as my YouTube channel, but you're welcome to follow me there. So anyway, if you need to know something, you want to ask me anything, please reach out. I'm going to try to do this again very soon, maybe once a week if I can. but I want you all to know that you are strong, you're brave, and no matter what, you're going to make it through this, okay? So remember that. Thanks, guys.